So, good evening. So, welcome to the orientation session for the mathematics optional. So, yeah, good evening. So, out of you people, right? So, some people actually might have already decided mathematics as one of the optional, and some people are still in dilemma whether to choose mathematics as an optional or not, right? Or actually, everybody decided that actually you wanted to go with mathematics optional. So, this is only the orientation. Yeah, decided. Okay. Good evening. Yeah. So, there are two aspects actually I am going to cover. So, one is actually, so is this the right optional? And the second question I am going to clarify is, so I have decided, then what is the best way? To score. This is the second question, right? These are the two important questions anybody has to clarify before proceeding further, right? Correct or not? Okay. So for the first question, actually, I don't take much time. So because actually, most of the people actually might have already decided mathematics as one of the optional. So here actually what I wanted to do here is, suppose I scored very good at +2 standard, but I have not taken mathematics as one of my subject during my graduation. So many people actually comes with this kind of question. I am very good at +2 standard with mathematics. I scored 99 or 100 marks out of 100 at +2 standard, but I have not studied in my graduation. So then, can I go ahead with mathematics optional? Then my answer is no. Answer is no. Don't take mathematics as an optional subject. If you score very well at +2 standard and you have not taken or you have not studied mathematics as one of the subject during your graduation, because the lot of concepts that you are going to learn in the graduation, right? So that won't be so these fundamentals actually may not be sufficient to score well in mathematics. Got it or not? So this is one thing. And suppose I scored very well at +2 standard and I have studied mathematics as one of the subjects during my graduation, then I say it's good. I say it's good, right? Because actually, so the fundamentals, whatever you learn at graduation are sufficient enough to crack with mathematics as one of the optional subjects, though you have not scored very well at graduation level. Because you can recap the fundamentals again and then you can easily score well, right? So those people who have studied during their graduation, right? So this subject will be a cakewalk. This subject will be a cakewalk. But here, one important quote and unquote is, so you should have interest in mathematics. Don't just choose as mathematics as an optional subject unless otherwise you have interest in it. So if you are passionate about mathematics, then this is the right solution. So if you are not passionate about mathematics, but you know, or actually you learn mathematics very well and you scored very well at +2 standard and you scored here also, but if you are not interested, then actually don't go with mathematics as an optional subject, because finally the interest does matter a lot. Got it or not? If you are passionate about mathematics, definitely you will be able to score. Now actually when compared to the other optional subjects like public administration, geography, political science, so these subjects actually, if you notice, these subjects have very good overlap with GS. Very good overlap with GS. So like actually those people have very less time to prepare. Actually, some people actually comes with such kind of questions saying that actually I can spend only 3 to 4 months of time on the optional subject. Then can I go ahead with mathematics optional subject? Because actually I studied very well at graduation level. So that is the kind of question people usually comes with. Then I say no. Because mathematics actually is such subject you need a lot of practice. You need to spend a lot of time. not less than 6 to 7 months of time you should be able to spend purely on mathematics. Then only you will be able to score very well. So the difference is like actually general studies anyway, these subjects are overlapping, right? So if you take these optional subjects, then actually it will be good for them, those people who wanted to spend very less time. But the disadvantage here is when compared to all these options versus maths, right? You can score very well in mathematics, not like these subjects, because there is no reference for these particular subjects. In the sense like, suppose you have answered one question in geography or history or political science or whatever it may be. Now actually, is this the correct answer or actually is it sufficient enough? Such kind of reference is not there here. But in this case of mathematics, right? So if you solve one problem, if the answer is correct, then you say that this is correct. If the answer is wrong, then actually you say that it's wrong, right? So there is a clear-cut 1 or 0 answer there in mathematics. But here, you may write answer, but will it give the 100% mark? That will be a very big question. Correct or not? So that is the difference. Now actually mathematics is such subject, it will give very good score and very good number of marks actually you will get it, provided if you are able to spend time on it. If you are not able to spend time, then go ahead with these kind of optional subjects, wherein these are actually relatively it is good, but not as good as like mathematics. Those people whoever is selecting mathematics as an optional subject, right? So for them actually it will be an edge, or actually they will be able to score well in mathematics. But here the case is you should be passionate about mathematics. That is one thing. You should be able to spend more time on it. So then the relative score will be very good in case of mathematics when compared to all other optional subjects. That is the biggest advantage. Finally, what does matters is you wanted to get a rank in civil services, right? If you wanted to get a rank in civil services, right? So general studies actually it will be 1250 marks only for GS and 500 marks only for the optional subject. Now these 1250 marks are equally tough for everybody, because the general studies syllabus is very, very vast. Whatever you study, right, still actually there might be some unknown questions that can come in the examination. But this is the optional subject which is your core area, and you know in and out, you know start to end of that particular subject. So this is the one which will decide your rank finally, because this is equally tough. Everybody scores more or less same in this, but actually this is the one which will make the difference. Correct or not? Right? So optional subject is the one which will make the difference between others versus you. Right? So that is why mathematics is very good optional subject to select, and it will be very good scoring also, provided if you have passion about mathematics and if you are able to spend not less than 6 months of time. And you should have studied mathematics during graduation at least. So with these factors actually, this is very, very important. And if you are not true with these 3 questions, right, then actually it is better don't go with mathematics optional subject. Rather than that, if you take maybe geography or public administration or political science or history, right, that will fetch you a lot because it is overlapping with the general studies. Got it or not? Here? So that is one question. And then actually, so you have decided mathematics as one of the optional subjects. In that case, so let us see, or just look at the syllabus, then actually you will get a fair idea. See, the topics of mathematics are paper 1. So first topic is linear algebra. And the second topic is calculus. Third topic is analytical geometry. And fourth one is ordinary differential equations. And the fifth one is dynamics and statics. And sixth one is vector analysis. vector analysis. And coming to paper 2, right? Algebra, real analysis, and third one is complex analysis, and the fourth one is linear programming, and the fifth one is partial differential equations, sixth one is numerical analysis, and computer programming. And seventh one is mechanics and fluid dynamics. So these are the topics actually that are broadly classified for the paper 1 and paper 2, right? So this is the complete syllabus. Now in this, right, if you notice, so the topics linear algebra, so this is actually, this is not there as part of, suppose people actually, some people might have studied graduation in, so maybe BSc degree or something like that, and some people might have studied engineering, right? How many of you have studied engineering? Tell me your branch also, EEE, EC or computer science, mechanical, civil, IT, okay, mechanical, EC, mechanical, okay. Anybody else? BSc computer science. Okay, fine. If you notice, right, so for engineering students, so this calculus is the one actually which you study very elaborately during your engineering, right? So calculus is one, analytical geometry is one, ordinary differential equations is one, and then vector analysis is one. So this one, and vector analysis. So these topics actually you have studied as part of your engineering mathematics, right, in paper 1. Correct or not? Correct or not? Right? So all these topics actually, it won't need much of your preparation. So if you notice, out of, so except for dynamics and statics, rest of the topics, I think, so dynamics and statics and linear algebra, these are the two topics actually which you might have not touched in the engineering, and then rest of the topics actually you have studied very clearly with elaborated syllabus during engineering, right? Yeah, so that is fine, Aman. So even if you forgot it, right, it will be easy for a quick reference. So you can easily grasp it again, right? Now actually this dynamics and statics for mechanical engineering and civil engineering students, right? So this will be actually, so most part of these dynamics and statics syllabus, right? It will be part of mechanical engineering and civil engineering as well. That means those people who have studied mechanical engineering and civil engineering, this topic is also done, right? And only topic that got left over is only the linear algebra part, and in this linear algebra part, about 70% of the syllabus also is part of the engineering, because you might have studied matrices, right? You might have studied matrices, right? Matrices is part of this linear algebra. So that's why, so almost if you notice, so not even 70, I think 80 to 90% of the syllabus is covered. For mechanical engineering students, actually it's almost 95% is covered during their engineering itself. For those people actually who have studied BSc, right? BSc computer science or something like that. So linear algebra, that will be part of their syllabus, and calculus, analytical geometry, ordinary differential equations, and vector analysis. Those people who have done their graduation, right? BSc. So these topics will be covered, but this won't be part of their syllabus. So essentially what I am trying to say here is, so the same, whatever you have studied during their graduation, so it will be part of this paper 1 syllabus completely. So very few parts you need to study extra. So that is linear algebra to some extent, and dynamics and statics. But this dynamics and statics is one topic actually which needs lot of preparation. Lot many concepts are there. So that is one thing. And then here coming out to be algebra, this topic actually will be studied by only the people coming from BSc background. And this topic is not part of our engineering mathematics. Algebra and real analysis. These two topics actually you need to study extra, or you need to learn now only. So these two topics actually you have not studied in the graduation. So for those who have studied engineering. But for BSc graduates, this will be anyway covered. And this is also covered for them. That is an advantage for BSc people. These two topics are already covered. So complex analysis is anyway part of engineering mathematics. And linear programming is actually elaborately studied. So as part of operational research, right? OR, operations research, right? Computer science people. And then actually BSc computer science people will be studying this particular topic, linear programming. Right? So this PDE will be studied by engineering people, not by BSc. And numerical analysis anyway, it will be studied by both. And the last topic, mechanics and fluid mechanics, this will be anyway for mechanical engineering students and then civil engineering students, it will be a cakewalk because actually they will study this particular topic elaborately. Got it or not? So essentially, what I am trying to say here is, you don't need much of extra preparation if you take mathematics as an optional subject. Only thing what you need to do is, you need to review back and then get it acquainted again and then do lot of practice to score well. Got it or not? Right? So that's the best approach. So that is why mathematics is one of the optional you can easily and quickly select to get very good score. Because all these things actually if you analyze, everything is more or less covered. So as an engineering graduate, I am also from engineering, right? So as an engineering graduate, I know that. So except for I am an electrical engineer. So by the way, so dynamics and statics and mechanics part. These two parts are actually not part of our engineering mathematics, and this algebra and real analysis. So if you notice, only 1, 2 and some part of this, and then 3 and this algebra to some part. That means, so approximately 4 different topics were not studied by engineering students, like if you take electrical engineering or computer science students. If it is mechanical engineering or civil engineering, almost 100% of the syllabus is covered for them, except for these two topics. Clear? So now the examination pattern is, if you notice, so paper 1 and paper 2. So each paper is given for 250 marks. So this is also for 250 marks. And out of the 250 marks, right? So the first question, so for the 250 marks, they will give 8 questions. They will give 8 questions. In the 8 questions, right? So there will be section A and section B. And the first question will be compulsory for everybody. So section A, so question number 1, 2, 3, 4. And section B, question number 5, 6, 7 and 8. So from the 6 topics, the way they give is, the first topic is, the first question is compulsory. And the 5th question is also compulsory. So first question of section A and first question of section B, both are compulsory. And these are actually covering all the 6 topics. It will cover all the 6 topics. And then each question is given for 50 marks. Each question is for 50 marks. So there will be part 1, part 2, part 3 like that. So in question number 1, A, B, C, D, E, or sometimes F also will be there. Or sometimes A, B, C, D only will be there. Right? So these are actually mandatory questions. Similarly, as part of section B, 5th question, it will cover all the parts of the other topics. Got it or not? So these are mandatory. That means if you wanted to score 50 out of 50 here and 50 out of 50 here, you have to be understanding all the topics. That is a must. And this will make lot of difference. Why? Because like actually, so this is actually section A, section B, right? So for 250 marks, you need to be attempting 5 questions. You need to be attempting first 5 questions, and wherein first question and 5th question is mandatory, and the rest of the 3 questions you can attempt from anywhere. That is up to you. Got it or not? That is up to you. So if you want to score 250 marks, you need to answer only 5 questions. You need to answer only 5 questions. And that means, so you can leave 3 other questions. Right? So everybody will make use of that choice. But actually, suppose most of the people wanted to do that, actually the statics and dynamics, actually they will keep it as choice. Here actually mechanics and fluid mechanics, they wanted to keep it as choice. But that's not true. Or that is not suggestible. Why? Because, so the difference between other students versus you is only the first question and fifth question. Those people actually whoever answers all the parts of first question and fifth question, right, they will have lot of edge between others. Finally, what it matters is you need to get a rank, right? So if you wanted to get a rank, it is always the relative performance. And this choice is there for everybody, not only for you, right? So you might be taking this one, so maybe seventh one and here 5, right? So these 2 topics actually you wanted to take a choice. But others might have taken some other topics as choice. But still, essentially everybody is answering 5 questions. Correct or not? So all the 5 questions are, so if you notice, this first question and fifth question, whoever is scoring very well, they only will get rank finally. Got it or not? Which essentially means is, you should not be leaving any topic. You should not be leaving not even a single part of this entire syllabus. That is why you need lot of practice. Right? So that's one of the important point I wanted to make it. And then most of the people actually will make another mistake. Like actually, so they are actually busy with maybe their own preparation or actually some other works. And then they will keep target to complete the syllabus. Like they might be attending the classes regularly. So for completing the syllabus, actually it may take maybe 6 months or 7 months or 8 months. And actually completing the syllabus itself is a great task. If that is the case, then actually where is the time for the practice? Right? Where is the time for the practice and where is the guidance? So all these things actually matters a lot. So that's why, so going through the syllabus and attending all the classes, right, it's not sufficient enough to score well. What is very important is the test series. You need to answer as many number of questions as possible. You need to cover as many number of models as possible. So it should be a relatively high when compared to all others, right? So that's the only key point. So if you wanted to get more than 330 marks in mathematics optional subject out of 500, then you should be practicing lot many number of tests. And most of the cases for the past 20 years papers, right, it will be repetitive. If you solve only the past 20 years papers, right, that is enough. You don't need any extra coaching. If you are able to solve on your own for the past 20 years questions, right, it will be enough. So here actually everything is proper. I think so your internet connection might be an issue. So but others are facing the same issue. Yeah. So I think so you need to upgrade your internet speed. So anyway, see this. Okay, those people whoever is attending from their mobile data are actually those people whoever is attending with a low BSNL connection. So such kind of people only will face this issue, but others actually it's not an issue, I believe. So to attend all these live interactive classes, you have to have minimum 3 Mbps internet speed. Minimum 3 Mbps internet speed you should be having it. Okay, fine. So anybody who has with lesser speed, right, they might face issue. So that's okay. So this is the strategy you wanted to attack, right? You should not be leaving anything on the plate, right? So, and then if you come to the paper 2, here also, so algebra, real analysis. I wanted to just discuss a few aspects in it. See this, here there are some independent topics wherein you can straight away go and start with only that particular topic, and there are certain dependent topics. So if you have a proper plan while preparing, right, so that will be easier for you to understand. Here, suppose if you take ordinary differential equation, right? So all the engineering mathematics is just dependent on the calculus. That is the fundamental topic for all the calculus part, fundamental topic. So that means as and when you start preparation, right? So calculus is the one actually you can start off, because actually it depends as the fundamental for the almost many of the topics in this entire syllabus here and here. Calculus. Then after that calculus, right? So analytical geometry is one actually. So this actually you can start independently, analytical geometry. Calculus also you can start independently because there is no dependency on this. And then this vector analysis, if you wanted to start off, right? Vector analysis. So you should be having the fundamentals of a little bit on geometry and a little bit on calculus. Not 100%. Little bit on geometry and little bit on the calculus. So then only you will be able to understand this vector analysis. And then here in this dynamics and statics, this is completely independent. Very minimal knowledge of calculus is important, like solving the differential equation or simple differential first order differential equation or simple second order differential equation. So that is enough. So what is the question, Visitor 558? Which concept I should know what it means? Okay, so before even you start mathematics as an optional subject, right? So before even you start mathematics as an optional subject, I strongly suggest at +2 standard you go through with important topics like one is the calculus, and you should be knowing all the methods of solving the differential equation, and you should be knowing all the methods of solving the integrations. These are a must. So okay, so Aman, actually don't worry about that. So you just actually quickly revise at +2 standard. So these topics, whatever I am telling, right? So I'll just write it here, the topics. You need to quickly revise. One is differential equations and another is integrations. And third one is properties of triangles. And fourth one is conic sections. Conic sections. So these are the important topics which you have to be aware before you start preparing the mathematics as an optional subject. So because actually I noticed in the class also, like many people, right? So they will be able to solve the problems at graduation level, but actually finally they stop at some integration or they stop at solving a differential equation. That should not be the case, because actually you are not learning afresh, right? You have already studied at +2 standard. You need to quickly revise it. We need to use those fundamentals to build graduation level concepts. Correct or not? So for this actually what I am doing is actually, so maybe actually this batch onwards, what I am planning is, so I will be covering these topics separately and wanted to give to the students who wanted to start their preparation as a mathematics as an optional subject. These topics anyway, I wanted to cover separately, not part of this entire course. Got it or not? So if you are done with this concept, then actually you can start off calculus, and then vector calculus actually you need to study before starting vector calculus, you need to study one is calculus, another is the analytical geometry. And linear algebra is an independent topic. So linear algebra and algebra are the independent topics. You can start afresh on your own and without even knowing any other fundamentals. And even this real analysis also is an independent topic. Don't depend on any other topic. And this complex analysis also is independent topic, complex analysis. Very little dependence on vector analysis, but ideally it is an independent topic. But coming to this one, mechanics and fluid mechanics, right? Mechanics is an independent topic, but fluid mechanics, right? So for that actually you need to be understanding complex analysis very much and little bit of vector calculus. Complex analysis actually is the one which plays very key role in this fluid mechanics. And vector analysis like vector calculus, right? That also to some extent you should be aware of to understand this fluid mechanics. And numerical methods, anyway, you are aware that. So this is the most easiest topic in engineering, right? So this is the most easiest topic in engineering mathematics. You don't need any fundamentals. So just go ahead and start with this. But PDE, if you wanted to understand, you should be pretty comfortable with ODE. You should be pretty comfortable with ODE. Then only you will be able to solve, or you will be able to understand this PDE, because the fundamentals are drawn from ODE. Got it or not? And linear programming is an independent topic. Most of the people might have not studied this. This linear programming is part of the syllabus of computer science, and you will be able to understand very easily. It is as if like a computer programming only. It's a very simple and straightforward. So there are certain methods you can study easily on this. PDE means partial differential equations. Partial differential equations. I think some of the BSc syllabus actually not part of this. Yeah. Got it? So this is the way of approach. So in a sense, if you study these fundamentals, most of the topics actually you can straight away start with, without even depending on other topics. Got it or not? So very few dependencies are there. So calculus you can start independently, linear algebra you can start independently, and then analytical geometry you can start independently, and statics and vector, so dynamics and statics also you can start independently. Only vector analysis needs fundamentals from, one is the calculus and another is the analytical geometry, because it is dependent on that, right? Coming to here, algebra is independent, real analysis is independent, and complex analysis a little bit dependent on the calculus, which anyway you might have studied at +2 standard itself. So if you are comfortable here, you can straight away start even the complex analysis also. But linear programming is independent of it, and partial differential equation is dependent on the ordinary differential equations, which again forms the fundamentals from this differential equations here. Got it or not? So, and partial differential. So numerical analysis is independent topic, and then mechanics and fluid mechanics, it is dependent on two topics. One is the complex analysis, and there is the vector analysis. Clear? So this is the approach, right? So don't go with the UPSC syllabus as it is. Like actually topic number 1 is there, so you wanted to start only topic number 1. So it should not be the case. So make sure of these dependencies, then actually you will be able to understand the topics very easily. Got it or not? So I strongly suggest you practice more number of tests. I strongly suggest that. So I say that in a single word that, so if you have not attended any coaching, and if you are pretty comfortable with engineering mathematics, then actually what I suggest is, if you don't want to go with any coachings, right, you go ahead and solve the past 20 years papers on your own. You are there for the competition. That's a single statement. You are there for the competition. You can score very well. Yeah, see this, like actually finally the examiner has to set some questions, right? So for the past 20 years if you take it, right, so there won't be any other models left over from any books. Got it or not? Some questions they have to straight away give from the previous questions. Some questions actually they have to give in only the models from the previous questions. Got it or not? In essence, 100% of the questions are from the previous models only. It won't deviate from anywhere, because all the models actually they have to cover it, right? So they might have covered for the past 20 years or 30 years, all those things, right? So where they will get the new models? Got it or not? So they cannot keep on generating more and more models, right? So models will be same. So it's not a single book. So it's not a single book. There are multiple books actually you need to refer, right? So for all the engineering mathematics, right? So since you might have studied BS Gravel itself for engineering mathematics, you take only BS Gravel and try to solve all the questions from there only, because that also will cover all the models. BS Gravel. That will form around 60% to 70% of your syllabus. BS Gravel straight away covers 60% to 70% of the syllabus. If you have studied during the graduation with BS Gravel, you solve only that particular book. And here actually most of the students, no, there is no syllabus change for the past decade. So the same syllabus is there. So actually Many people actually feel that actually the syllabus is going to be changed from year to year, but it's not the case. Even if they change, right, finally 1 or 2 words are going to be different, but essentially the core part of mathematics won't change. The core part of, yeah. So BS gravel is enough for certain topics. So like if you take ordinary differential equations, ODE, and then, so ordinary differential equations, calculus, vector analysis, and then some parts of PDE, some parts only, not 100% covered here. So PDE is to some extent it was covered as part of BS gravel, and then linear algebra also, certain portion of linear algebra is covered as part of BS gravel, and then complex analysis complete, numerical methods complete, and then this one. So linear programming to some extent. So all these topics actually BS gravel is enough. Complex analysis, ordinary differential equations, calculus, vector analysis, PDE, linear, numerical methods, and linear algebra to some extent, linear programming is to some extent. So PDE, linear programming, and linear algebra. These are the parts actually you might have to refer even other books as well along with BS gravel. Yeah, so BSc Maths, yeah, so that should be enough. Yeah, BSc Maths. And then the trick to score very well in mathematics, right? So if you notice, most of the questions that were asked in the previous year questions, right? So those are, if you notice, UGC specified books for any topic. The questions will be directly asked from those books. Got it or not? So UGC actually prescribes certain books for each and every topic. University Grant Commission, UGC. So certain books actually prescribed by, so certain books are prescribed by UGC for the graduation and post graduations, right? So those topics which are given by this UGC, right? You straight away take those books. The questions are directly asked from there. Got it or not? The questions are directly asked from there. Fine? Okay. And then coming to the other topics, right? So algebra and real analysis. So UGC prescribed books, you take it directly. And complex analysis is anyway covered and PD is anyway covered. And then mechanics and fluid mechanics, right? So maybe Krishna series actually you can take it. Mechanics, sorry. So fluid mechanics actually, Shanti Swarup. And statics and dynamics. Statics and dynamics is Krishna series. Krishna series. And then, so PDE, if you wanted to practice more, then go ahead with Rai Singhania. Rai Singhania. So these are the standard books which you can refer to understand very well on mathematics. Clear? So this will cover 100% syllabus. Whatever the books I have referred, right? One is the BS gravel. So actually usually this UGC books, right? So those are actually are the standard textbooks actually which were prescribed to the BSc students. So actually in the books, right? So you can go to the store and then ask for the UGC prescribed books. So straight away they will give it. Fine. So in total, one is BS gravel, another is Rai Singhania, this is for PDE, for those parts actually which are not covered as part of BS gravel. So the book size is very big. But actually, hardly you might have to refer 10 pages in that. Hardly you might have refer only 10 pages. That is enough. But the book size will be this much in size. BS Gravel will cover most part. Got it or not? Now actually, statics and dynamics. This is Krishna series. And this is the same thing even for mechanics also. So for mechanics, right? So that is enough. Krishna series is enough. If you wanted to still further proceed, right, you may go with Rai Singhania. But actually the problem with this Rai Singhani is they don't give much of explanation to understand the concept. So they straight away go with the problems. So that problems actually for understanding it might be a bit tough for you. Right? And fluid dynamics or FM, right? Shanti Swaroop. So actually the questions are straight away asked from this book, Shanti Swaroop. So real analysis, algebra. And for these books actually UGC prescribed books. So I think that's all. So these books list actually is enough. You need to purchase those books. Got it or not? You need to purchase those books. And then if you wanted to refer a textbook, right, you stick to only one textbook. Don't make the mistake of referring to multiple books. You will end up wasting lot of time because the models will be more or less same. And what I strongly suggest is, first of all, before proceeding to the practice, right, you should be strongly building fundamentals. So actually many people actually wanted to start their preparation straight away with the practice. If you are pretty good at fundamentals, then actually go ahead with that. Or else actually, so every time actually you try to solve a problem, right, you will have to go back and refer the fundamentals. If that is the case, then actually it will be very tough for you to crack the examination. Because if you are very good at fundamentals and if you have lesser preparation time for the practice, right, still you will be able to score very well. But if you are not good at the fundamentals and you straight away wanted to go ahead with the practice, right, so you might have got very less time, like maybe 2 months time or 3 months time actually you wanted to spend it. You feel that actually during your graduation you have studied more or less all the topics, so you can directly practice and go ahead. But that's not the right approach at all. You should be referring back and you should be building your fundamentals very strongly. Then only you can start preparing the practice questions. Because straight away in the examinations, if you notice last year question, right, lot of proofs on the fundamentals were given. Those people are, whoever is good at fundamentals, right, they will be able to score very well this time. But actually those people who are not good at fundamentals, they will not be able to score. Got it or not? So that's why this is the standard approach. First, you go with the +2 standard, those 4 topics, whatever I have mentioned. Then come back to the same textbooks, whatever you have referred during your graduation, right? It will be always suggested to bring those books back and then refer. Got it or not? So you don't need to stick to only these topics only. You don't need to stick to only these books. You can even bring your old textbooks, whatever you have studied, but stick it to only that. Got it or not? Because it's different authors follows different way of explanation. You might have comfortable with your graduation books. That's why go back and bring those textbooks again and then start preparing with those textbooks. That books also will cover all the models without leaving anything. Clear? Okay. So this is the approach for the mathematics optional subject. So with this actually you should be able to score very well, and make sure that you will be spending not less than 6 to 7 months time only on the mathematics optional subject. Yeah, Krejcik. Yeah, so Gautam, so if you have studied Krejcik, that's okay, but actually Krejcik is a bit higher standard in the sense actually that is a more of a practical approach is there. So for solving real engineering problems, Irwin Krejcik is very suggested, but actually for understanding or actually to crack civil service examination, then rather than going for Irwin Krejcik, you go ahead with BS Gravel, because actually this will cover more number of problems, and the standard of the questions also is at par with the civil services examination. Got it or not? So actually here you have to notice one important aspect. So the important aspect is, if you notice the standard of the questions what were asked in UPSC previous examinations, if you notice, it's not very high. So this is high, this is low. Now actually the UPSC standard of examination is somewhere here. It's not low, it's not high. That's the problem. Now actually if you notice in these textbooks, right, Irwin Krejcik and Rai Singhania, these are the books actually follows at this particular stage. But if you try to solve those books, right, you will think you will think a lot even to solve a small problem. That's the problem there, if you start understanding these books. But actually the UPSC examination standard is in the middle, right? You have to practice the questions of this level only. Don't go with this level or don't come back to this level. Got it or not? So if you try to spend on this particular aspects, right, you will be spending lot of time, but your score will be very less. If you are at this particular stage, which means that actually these are actually a little bit above +2 standard, right? So if you try to spend here, right, even then also you will not be able to solve. That is why what I am asking is, if you solve the previous year questions, you will get an understanding. All the questions are at certain level, where you got used to solving those kind of problems. Clear or not? Right? So any other questions? Any other questions? So this is how actually you need to be preparing for mathematics as an optional subject. So at our Indian Civils online coaching, right? So daily the classes will be exactly the same way what we are doing now. So starts at 8 o'clock in the evening and ends by 9:30 every day. And then the way we take up is these classes will be taken separately and the tests will be taken separately. Got it or not? So we wanted to concentrate more on the test series. What do you mean by that, Madhava? Mixing of some methods. What do you mean by that? See this. So here actually it's not the mixing of the methods. There will be a mixing of questions. In the sense actually in the paper one, if you notice, yeah. So no, such kind of concepts won't be there to increase the criticality of the question. So UPSC standard is relatively lower standard. So you have to understand that fact. So they don't give too much of criticality. And the questions are actually not low, not high. So out of 6 topics as part of paper 1, right? So they have to give 8 questions, right? They have to give 8 questions. And then first question and fifth question, so they have to cover actually all the parts of these 6 parts, right? So in section A, they might be mixing 3 topics, and section B, they might be mixing 3 topics. So 2 questions got over. Now actually, we have got again 6 different questions are there, and in the 6 different questions, they need to be giving 6 different questions, right? 6 topics, 6 questions. Each question carries 50 marks. Got it or not? So all the 6 topics are important in case of paper 1, right? In case of paper 1, all the 6 topics are important, because to score well on these 2 topics, these 2 questions, question number 1 and question number 5, and rest of the questions, each question carries or each topic carries 50 marks. Got it or not? Each question carries 50 marks. Now actually you may leave choice. You may leave choice out of 6 questions. You can attempt only 3. That's it. So in case of paper 2, we have 7 topics, right? 7 topics. Here in this case, if you notice, the first question and the 5th question, anyway, these are mandatory. So one may take 3 and one may take 4. And these are mandatory, which will cover all the 7 parts of the entire syllabus of paper 2. And then rest of the topics, if you notice, so I need to be giving 6 questions, but I have 7 topics in it. 7 topics in it. Now in that actually what I will do, so I will try to mix the questions from each and everything. I will try to mix the questions. So because actually I need only 6 questions. I have 7 topics. So somewhere actually I will bring 2 different topics together and prepare only 1 question. And that will be taken randomly. We don't have a strict rule on that. Got it or not? This way they will mix the questions because actually each question will have A, B, C and sometimes D. Sometimes D. So the number of marks will be 20 marks or sometimes 30 marks or 15 marks or 10 marks. So finally in all the sections together they will give 50 marks. So which essentially means is, suppose if they are giving 8 questions and first and 5th questions, definitely they will give 5 different sections. Right? So 5 different, okay. So actually in the first question and 5th question, right? First and 5th questions, they will be having A, B, C, D, E sections. That means 5 questions, and in this 5 questions and rest of the questions actually they usually take either 3 or 4. Right? In total, if you notice the number of questions, right? 5 plus 5, then assume each question is 4. Then actually 6 into 4, 24 and this is 10. So total actually 34 questions they will give in paper 1 and 34 questions in paper 2. In total it is 68 questions they will give in paper 1 and paper 2 out of entire syllabus. So you need to practice in such a manner out of these 64 parts, right? So 10 questions, so this 10 is mandatory and then out of this 4, right? So you need to be answering, so 3 into 4, 12 questions. So 10 plus 12. 10 plus 12 means this is 22 questions. So 22 questions you should be able to solve in 3 hours. Got it or not? So 22 questions you should be able to solve in 2 hours. That is the kind of approach you need to follow. Got it? So 180 minutes, 22 questions. So such level of expertise you need it. And one other important aspect actually people face is like actually adjusting the space. So in the UPSC question papers, right, the way they give it is, so question will be given here and they will leave maybe one page or 1.5 page and then they will give one more question after maybe 1 page. And which means that the question, whatever you are going to write it here, right, the solution of the question actually whatever you are going to write it, 2 aspects. One aspect is you should fit the entire solution within the space provided. That is one important aspect. And another important aspect most of the people face is you might have made some mistake. Then you need to strike off and then you need to write it. That kind of chance will go off. Got it or not? Finally, the 3 hours does matters. 3 hours does matters. So there are 2 aspects if you strike off one question. One aspect is if you strike off one question, automatically, right? Automatically the space will get over. So there is no chance that you will be able to write the answer again in that space. That part will go over, right? That is one important aspect. Suppose you have selected maybe question number 5. Maybe actually you have selected question number 6 out of your choice. In that question number 6, there are A, B, C, D sections. A, B, C, D sections. Now actually you have answered A correctly and you have answered B correctly and then coming to C you have made this mistake. Coming to C you have made this mistake. What it means? The space got over. That means there is no space to write this particular answer again. Right? Straight away the marks of section C went off. Right? And so D actually you might have answered properly. But the problem is, suppose if you wanted to take the choice of 7th question rather than 6th because you have made the mistake, right? You will not get time to answer all the 4 questions again. Which essentially means is, it's a kind of negative marking. So if you made a mistake means you made a mistake for the year itself. Got it or not? Now see how critical it is to be very, very accurate. You have only choice left over to leave this question number C, and for that particular, let us say this question number C carries 20 marks. So you have gone for this 20 marks straight away. And you have only one chance to leave this and go ahead with other questions. No way you can get these 20 marks again and again. Got it or not? Which essentially means is you should not be making even a single mistake in the examination hall. If you make a single mistake out of all the sections, so you are gone for that year. That is important. It's not only for you, it is for every optional. So which means that you need lot of practice. So all these things actually you have to be aware before even you are attempting the examination or before you start the preparation. Then only you will be properly going in the right manner. See this. It is actually whether you are from IIT background or whether you are from NIT background or whether you are from a private engineering college, right? It does not matter. It does not matter at all. Only thing does matters is you should be passionate about mathematics. Are you saying that actually private engineering students are not scoring very well? If you notice, right, many people topped with mathematics as an optional subject even from the private colleges as well, right? It does not mean that actually, so whether if you are from IIT background or NIT background, you will be able to score well. That's not true. Got it? So the only thing is you should be passionate about mathematics. That is the one important aspect. And you should be ready to spend time. These are the two important aspects. Clear, Gautam? Fine. So, and actually even for the, so if you notice, right, the level of UPSC pattern, right? So maybe usually if you notice, IIT people wanted to operate at this particular standard, but UPSC standard is a little bit lower than that. And for those people actually who are operating at this particular standard, mostly like actually autonomous colleges actually or some private engineering colleges or actually maybe NITs or such kind of stages, right? Those people actually will operate at this particular standard. For them it will be very easy rather than this or this. Calculator is not allowed. Clear? Any other questions? Yeah. So Love Kumar, actually previous year questions are available in the net itself. And actually, so the way we conduct the test series, actually we will be covering all the past 20 years papers. So you can ping me in Telegram so that actually I can provide you the link where you can download all those papers. Fine. And also like actually, I think those newcomers actually whoever is joined today, right? So you people wanted to have discussions, right? You might be having lot of questions, right? So we have a dedicated mathematics optional group wherein around 200 people will be there, and actually we'll be admitting to that particular group, and then you can pose all your questions. Many people actually will try to solve it, and we, the faculty, also part of that particular group, and we will be able to solve and provide you the solutions. So now actually one important aspect, so keep ahead all this mathematics and all. So for a success of any particular student, right, actually there will be 4 different aspects. So one aspect is See, actually, yeah, it's on Telegram. So you people actually, whoever is like wanted to prepare mathematics as an optional subject, either a student of ours or actually not, right? So you can install Telegram in your mobile and then you can ping me on my mobile number. I will put you on that particular group so that actually everybody will be in the same pace so that actually you can discuss your questions. Now actually, I will tell you one Sanskrit sloka, wherein like if you wanted to learn anything, right, there are 4 different aspects. So Bhartrhari has given one sloka which says that, so if you wanted to learn anything, Padam Acharya Rupena, Padam Swamedasya, Padam Sadbrahmachari Sametasya, Padam Kalakramena. So these are the 4 different aspects wherein you can learn anything. So one is Acharya, Swameda. What it means is, so actually this is very, very important to understand, to learn anything. What it means is, many people feels that actually, suppose if I join a coaching institute, they will take care of everything and they will be able to crack the examination. That's not true. That is the first thing you have to know. And if you wanted to learn anything, first thing is, suppose if the teacher is excellent and if he is a great teacher, then the maximum knowledge what you can get from a talented teacher is maximum of 25% only. Out of 100% what you need to learn, right? Maximum you will be able to get 25% from the teacher. But this is very crucial, right? So what it means is, without having guru, right, the study won't be successful. Why? Because, so he will guide you what to study, what not to study. Both are very important. So very, very important. So this is very, very crucial. Suppose actually, for a people, whoever is not guided by anybody, if he wanted to crack the civil service examination, it will take at least 4 years, minimum. Minimum 4 years it will take. Why? Because understanding the civil service examination in total, not about simple mathematics optional subject. Take off complete syllabus, GS and mathematics and everything together. Now, to understand the pattern of examination and to understand and gather the material and what to study and what not to study, and in a particular subject what is important, what is not important, right? To understand all level of understanding, it will take at least 1 to 1.5 years. Suppose if some expert, directly maybe somebody cracked the civil service examination, or actually maybe somebody in the field of civil service coaching or something like that, maybe he's a teacher, something like that. So that person actually, he knows what to study and what not to study. If you get a proper guidance from him, then all that 1.5 years will be directly saved for you. Got it or not? Then you can straight away gather the material and start your own preparation. And after starting the preparation, right, it may take 1 year to completely grip on that particular one. Some people actually say that actually in the first attempt itself, actually they have scored very well and they have got through in the first attempt itself. How it is? Just because they might have guided from the graduation itself. That's the important aspect, right? So they might have guided from the toppers, actually they might have guided from some expert or somebody who are in this particular field. So if they guide it, right, then only they will be able to crack it here. So that is why this 25% is very, very important. And the second one is Swamedasya. This is the self-practice. So self-practice, actually you will get 25% of the knowledge. What it means is, so whatever he is told, right, so you have understood, and then actually you might be referring on your own certain textbooks, maybe from library, maybe some standard textbook, and then you have solved many problems and you try to get the doubts clarified from this particular guru or actually from different books. So then only you will be able to get remaining 25% of the knowledge. And this one, this important aspect is Sadbrahmachari Sametasya. What it means is, this one you will get knowledge by debating or by discussing with your friends and colleagues. So if you study in a particular room, or actually maybe from morning to evening you are spending only on library, then your education will be very not successful. What you need to do is, you need to discuss, because actually you might have in some way, that way may be correct or may not be correct also. When you try to talk to the other people, whoever is exactly in the same line, you will be able to share the opinion to both of you, and then you will argue it and debate it and finally do some conclusions. With that, you will be able to get the strong knowledge on the fundamentals. So this will make you remaining 25% of the knowledge. And this is Kalakramena, which means that the learning process is always throughout the life. It's a never-ending process. So maximum you can acquire 75% of the knowledge even if you follow all these process. And remaining is throughout the life actually you will be learning. So in some cases, suppose actually you might have asked some question. So I may not be able to clarify it. Got it or not? So which means that, so it will be a learning process. Because actually in the world, nobody is 100% knowledge enough to answer everything. Got it or not? So this way, so many people think that actually this itself actually will do the purpose, which is not really true. So at least you try to make use of all these three things and get score well. Got it or not? So this is my sincere suggestion. So, and every part has its own importance in it. So that also you try to understand it. Clear? So any other questions? So that's all for today. So tomorrow I am going to start with complex analysis. So if you have any questions, you can ask me now. So next 2-3 weeks actually, the first topic is complex analysis. And after that actually mechanics. Both are actually independent topics. I am going to cover that. Right? If those two are comfortable enough, then actually I will start with fluid mechanics and partial differential equations. Clear? Okay. So thank you. So good night. Bye bye. So tomorrow same time. So 8 to 9:30 live.